Many crashes are caused by A. Drivers traveling too fast for conditions. B. Drivers consistently checking their mirrors and blind spots. C. Drivers yielding the right of way. D. Drivers maintaining a 4-second following distance. A. Drivers traveling too fast for conditions. Many crashes are caused by drivers who are driving too fast for conditions. Always drive within the legal speed limits and decrease your speed anytime conditions are less than perfect. This road sign means A. Road construction ahead. B. The road ahead curves left, then right. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. D. Steep grade ahead. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. This sign indicates that the road ahead curves to the right and then to the left. You should slow down to be able to negotiate these curves safely. Driving at night requires increased caution because A. Traffic moves faster at night. B. There is a larger volume of traffic at night. C. Drivers cannot see as well at night. D. Accidents occur more frequently at night. C. Drivers cannot see as well at night. Because it is dark, drivers cannot see as well at night as they can during the day. From 1/2 hour after sunset until 1/2 hour before sunrise, or at any other time when persons or vehicles are not visible for 500 feet, drivers must use their headlights. The amount of space you need to cross traffic depends on the A. Road conditions, weather conditions, and oncoming traffic. B. Presence of a stop sign. C. Use of your turn signals. D. Cars behind you. A. Road conditions, weather conditions, and oncoming traffic. The amount of space you need to cross traffic depends on the road conditions, weather conditions, and oncoming traffic.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
Fines for moving traffic violations in construction zones are A. Lessened. B. Doubled. C. Unchanged. D. Non-existent. B. Doubled. In Florida, fines are doubled when infractions occur within construction zones. There will also be possible civil penalties of up to $1,000 and you can be required to complete a driving school course. Which of the following statements about railroad crossings is true? A. It is against the law to go around lowered gates at a crossing. B. You must stop at a railroad crossing when directed to do so by a flagger. C. Not all railroad crossings are equipped with flashing red signals and gates. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You must stop at a railroad crossing when directed to do so by a flagger, stop sign, or warning devices, such as gates or flashing lights. Not all railroad crossings are equipped with such devices. It is against the law to drive around lowered railroad crossing gates. This sign means A. One-way traffic. B. Intersection ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. D. Highway curves ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. This sign indicates that there is merging traffic entering from the right. Which of the following statements is true? A. Signal at least 100 feet before changing lanes to pass and ensure there is no oncoming traffic. B. Use your mirrors and look over your left shoulder to check your blind spot when passing to the left. C. When passing, wait until you can see both headlights of the passed car in your rearview mirror before returning to your original lane. D. All of the above. The most important thing to remember about speed management and curves is that you must A. Drive at the posted speed limit as you enter the curve, then slow down at the sharpest part of the curve. B. Slow down before you enter the curve. C. Accelerate gently before you enter the curve. D. Drive at the posted speed limit before, throughout, and after the curve. B. Slow down before you enter the curve. The most important thing to remember about driving in curves is that your vehicle's inertia may make it difficult to turn. To maintain control, it is essential that you slow down before entering the curve. Which of the following best ensures your safety and the safety of those around you when you are backing your vehicle? A. Honk your horn right before shifting into reverse. B. Check behind the vehicle before you get into the driver's seat. C. Check your rearview mirrors to see what is behind you. D. Turn up the car radio before backing up to get the attention of anyone who may be around you. B. Check behind the vehicle before you get into the driver's seat. Backing requires extra caution because it is difficult for drivers to see behind their vehicles. Before entering a vehicle to back up, walk to the back of the vehicle to check for children and small objects. When may you proceed through an intersection that has a stop sign but no stop line or crosswalk? A. After slowing down to verify that there is no cross traffic. B. After coming to a complete stop and verifying that it is safe to proceed. C. After you have stopped at least 20 feet prior to the intersection. D. After slowing down to a speed of 10 miles per hour. B. After coming to a complete stop and verifying that it is safe to proceed. Stop before the stop line or crosswalk at any intersection that is controlled by a stop sign. If there is a stop sign but no stop line or crosswalk, stop before entering the intersection and proceed when it is safe to do so. If you cause injury while passing a school bus that is stopped to drop off or pick up children, you will A. Be fined up to $500. B. Be permitted to keep your license. C. Be fined $1,500. D. Face no legal consequences. C. Be fined $1,500. Drivers must come to a complete stop when approaching a school bus that is stopped with its lights flashing. Causing an injury when passing a stopped school bus will result in a fine of $1,500. Additional penalties, such as license suspension and required community service, will apply. What does this road sign mean? A. Slow down and prepare to stop if cars are approaching you. B. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. C. Proceed carefully through the intersection, not always stopping. D. Stop only for traffic on an intersecting road. B. Come to a full stop and go when it is safe to do so. A stop sign means that you must come to a full stop and yield the right of way to vehicles and pedestrians in or heading toward the intersection. Go again when it is safe. Highway markings. A. Are usually not important. B. Are only found in construction zones. C. Provide information for drivers. D. Are usually red and blue in color. C. provide information for drivers. Highway markings provide information for drivers. Markings help drivers correctly position their vehicles on roadways, inform drivers of safe passing zones, and warn drivers about upcoming conditions. This sign means A. One-way traffic. B. Two-way left turn. C. Two-way traffic. D. Minimum speed limit. A. One-way traffic. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. This sign tells drivers the direction in which they must drive when turning onto a one-way street. A telltale sign of a drunk driver is A. They are weaving between lanes. B. They are driving more slowly than the normal traffic flow. C. They are making quick and sudden stops. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Telltale signs of drunk driving include speeding, weaving, driving more slowly than the normal traffic flow, making jerking motions, and making quick and sudden stops. This is a fill in the blank sign. A. Stop. B. Wrong way. C. Yield. D. Do not enter. C. Yield. This triangular sign is a yield sign. When you see this sign, you must slow down to check for traffic and yield the right of way to pedestrians and approaching cross traffic. Stop only if it is necessary to do so. Fill in the blank. Limit your concentration, perception, judgment, and memory. A. Only a blood alcohol level greater than the legal limit can. B. Alcohol does not. C. Even the smallest amount of alcohol can. D. Only a blood alcohol level greater than 0.05% can. C. Even the smallest amount of alcohol can. Even the smallest amount of alcohol will reduce your concentration, perception, judgment and memory, and your driving skills will suffer. No one can drink and drive safely. When approaching an accident scene, you should A. Keep your attention on your driving. B. Keep moving. C. Stop if you are involved or if emergency help has not yet arrived. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Do not stop at an accident scene unless you are involved or emergency help has not yet arrived. Keep your attention on your driving and keep moving, watching for people who might be on or near the road. Never drive to the scene of an accident, fire, or other disaster just to look. When approaching a railroad crossing, you should A. Slow down. B. Look for a train. C. Be ready to stop. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When you see any signs indicating a nearby railroad crossing, you should slow down, look for a train, and be ready to stop. If the red warning lights are flashing or the gate is down, you must stop 15 to 50 feet before the railroad tracks. Do not try to go around the gate. This sign means A. Curves ahead. B. Divided highway starts. C. Divided highway ends. D. Bumps in the road. C. Divided highway ends. This sign warns drivers that the divided highway ends ahead. When parking uphill on a hill or incline with a curb, A. Turn your front wheels sharply toward the curb. B. Turn your front wheels slightly to the right. C. Turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. D. Keep your front wheels straight. C. Turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. To keep your vehicle from rolling into traffic when parked facing uphill, turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. If you are parking uphill on a street that has no curb, turn the wheels sharply toward the edge of the road. A speed limit is A. The maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under dangerous conditions. B. The maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. C. The suggested speed to travel on a road under ideal conditions. D. None of the above. B. The maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. A speed limit is the maximum or minimum legal speed you can travel on a road under ideal conditions. You may drive more slowly than the posted speed, but it is illegal to drive any faster. You must drive more slowly where signs indicate a school zone or work zone speed limit. If conditions such as road construction or bad weather make the posted speed unsafe, drive under the speed limit. Larger vehicles have A. Larger blind spots. B. Smaller blind spots. C. No blind spots. D. The same blind spots as smaller vehicles. A. Larger blind spots. The larger the vehicle, the larger the blind spots. Large trucks and SUVs have spots close to their rears that cannot be seen in their side or rearview mirrors. This road sign means A. The left lane is reserved for vehicles with a specific number of occupants. B. Specific turning movements are allowed from specific lanes. C. Do not enter. D. Drivers in both lanes are responsible for merging smoothly. A. The left lane is reserved for vehicles with a specific number of occupants. This sign marks a high occupancy vehicle (HOV) lane. HOV lanes are reserved for use by buses and vehicles with a driver and one or more passengers, as indicated on the sign. On a road which has no sidewalks, a pedestrian should walk on the A. Side of the road which has the lightest traffic. B. Same side of the road on which traffic is moving. C. Side of the road facing oncoming traffic. D. Side of the road which has the heaviest traffic. C. Side of the road facing oncoming traffic. Pedestrians should walk on the side of the road facing the traffic in the lane nearest them. It is best to keep a space cushion. A. Only in back of your vehicle. B. Only on the left and right sides of your vehicle. C. Only in front of the vehicle. D. On all sides of the vehicle. D. On all sides of the vehicle. To ensure that you will have time to react to hazards on the roadway, it is best to keep a cushion of space on all sides of your vehicle. Do not crowd vehicles to your left and right sides. This road sign means A. Steep grade ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Low ground railroad crossing. D. Low clearance. D. Low clearance. This sign indicates that the overpass ahead has a low clearance. You should not proceed if your vehicle is taller than the height shown on the sign, in this case, 13 feet 6 inches. When passing on a multi-lane highway. A. Be sure the passing lane is clear. B. Pass only on the right. C. Watch for oncoming traffic. D. There is no need to signal. A. Be sure the passing lane is clear. Before passing, you must make sure the passing lane is clear and give the proper turn signal to show you are going to change lanes. A pedestrian starts to cross in front of your vehicle. You should A. Flash your lights. B. Slow down. C. Speed up and pass in front of the pedestrian. D. Stop and let the pedestrian cross. D. Stop and let the pedestrian cross. Slow down and be prepared to stop whenever you see pedestrians walking on or crossing the roadway. Be particularly careful where children are present. Always yield the right of way to a pedestrian crossing in a crosswalk. When changing lanes on a highway, you should A. Signal a lane change. B. Check your rearview and outside mirrors. C. Check your blind spot by glancing over your shoulder. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Anytime you want to change lanes, you should properly signal your intentions well in advance, check your mirrors, and check your blind spot. You can check your blind spot by glancing over your shoulder in the direction that you plan to move. When using a roundabout or rotary island, drivers should A. Yield to entering traffic. B. Yield to traffic already in the roundabout. C. Drive in a clockwise direction. D. Stop within the rotary island. B. Yield to traffic already in the roundabout. A roundabout is a circular intersection that flows in a counterclockwise direction around a central island and usually does not include a traffic signal. Motorists must enter from the right, yielding to traffic already in the roundabout, and follow the circle to the right until the desired roadway is reached. When a funeral procession is present, fill in the blank. Has the right of way. A. The funeral procession. B. A pedestrian. C. Another driver. D. A bicyclist. A. The funeral procession. Drivers, pedestrians, and bicyclists must yield the right of way to funeral processions. When the lead vehicle enters an intersection, the remaining vehicles in the funeral procession may follow through the intersection regardless of any traffic control devices. To prevent hydroplaning, you should A. Ensure that your tires have good tread depth. B. Ensure that your tires are properly inflated. C. Reduce your speed when driving in the rain. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. To prevent hydroplaning, you should ensure that the tires on your vehicle have good tread depth and are inflated to the proper pressure. Reduce the speed of your vehicle when driving in the rain. Hydroplaning occurs most frequently at higher speeds. You may honk your horn when you A. Have to stop quickly. B. Are passing another car. C. Have lost control of your car. D. Are passing a bicyclist. C. Have lost control of your car. One situation where it is appropriate to use your horn is if you lose control of your vehicle. In this case, sound your horn to alert other drivers. When passing a large vehicle, the driver of a small vehicle must be prepared for A. Loud noises. B. Excess air pollution. C. Wind gusts produced by the large vehicle. D. Falling vehicle parts. C. Wind gusts produced by the large vehicle. Large vehicles can cause wind gusts with a force great enough to cause direction changes in smaller vehicles. Drivers of small vehicles should be prepared to take proper corrective steering action when approaching or passing large vehicles that are moving at or near maximum speeds. When may a driver pass a vehicle that is stopped at a crosswalk? A. When the vehicle does not accelerate quickly enough after the pedestrian has left the crosswalk. B. When the pedestrian is directly in front of the vehicle. C. When there is no visible pedestrian. D. Never. D. Never. You are not allowed to overtake and pass a vehicle that is stopped at a crosswalk. Florida law requires that a driver assumes any vehicle stopped at a crosswalk is waiting for a crossing pedestrian, even when none can be seen at that moment. Your body gets rid of approximately A. 3 alcoholic drinks an hour. B. 1 alcoholic drink an hour. C. 2 alcoholic drinks an hour. D. None of the above. B. 1 alcoholic drink an hour. The average person's body will process about 1 alcoholic drink in 1 hour. However, many factors play a part in determining how impaired a person will become when consuming alcohol, including the amount of alcohol consumed, how fast it is consumed, and a person's body weight, food intake, and general health. Florida law requires you to use headlights. A. To get the attention of vehicles surrounding you. B. During a clear day. C. Between sunset and sunrise. D. If you are driving while tired. C. Between sunset and sunrise. Florida law says that you must use headlights when driving between sunset and sunrise. Drive with extra care when driving at night. This sign is used to prevent A. Entrance to full parking lots. B. Entrance to road construction areas. C. Entrance to dead-end streets. D. Entrances from the wrong direction on one-way streets and expressway ramps. D. Entrances from the wrong direction on one-way streets and expressway ramps. This sign warns that a road has one-way traffic and you must not enter from your current direction. You may drink alcoholic beverages in a vehicle on a public highway. A. As long as you aren't driving. B. If you are riding in the back seat. C. If you are riding in the back of a pickup truck. D. Under no circumstances. D. Under no circumstances. It is against the law to consume or possess any alcoholic beverage while on a public road or sidewalk. Additionally, storing an open alcoholic beverage container in an area of a motor vehicle normally occupied by the driver or passenger is prohibited on any public road. This sign means A. All traffic must turn. B. Turn right at the intersection. C. Parking area ahead. D. Crossroad ahead. Watch for traffic. D. Crossroad ahead. Watch for traffic. This sign warns of the presence of a crossroad ahead. When changing lanes, you should A. Rely on your mirrors. B. Begin signaling as you move into the next lane. C. Signal at least 500 feet before your lane change when driving on residential streets. D. Always check your blind spot. D. Always check your blind spot. Other cars and motorcycles are often hidden in a vehicle's blind spot, so be sure to glance over your shoulder before you begin a lane change. Begin signaling 100 feet before changing lanes or turning in a residential area. Signal 5 seconds in advance when changing lanes on a freeway. When you need to change lanes, it is important to A. Signal your intentions ahead of the lane change. B. Check your blind spot. C. Make sure the lane is clear before entering. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Always signal for an appropriate amount of time before making a lane change or exiting a freeway. Before you make any move to the right or left, quickly turn your head and look over your shoulder to see if your blind spot is clear. Drivers who have consumed alcohol before getting behind the wheel. A. Are always aware of the risks they are taking. B. Do not have sufficient control over their bodies and minds or the vehicles being driven. C. Are better drivers because they are more careful than sober drivers. D. Have quicker reaction times. B. Do not have sufficient control over their bodies and minds or the vehicles being driven. Alcohol is a depressant that negatively affects judgment, vision, concentration, understanding of reality, and reaction time. It is never safe to consume alcohol in any amount before getting behind the wheel of a car. Increasing your vehicle's speed. A. Increases your field of vision. B. Decreases your field of vision. C. Makes it easier to see cross traffic. D. Has no effect on your field of vision. B. Decreases your field of vision. The faster you drive, the smaller your field of vision becomes. As your speed increases and your field of vision decreases, you must be extra alert to potential hazards. When approaching a flashing yellow light, drivers should A. Increase their speed. B. Come to a complete stop. C. Turn on their headlights. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. A flashing yellow light warns of a hazard. Slow down and proceed with caution. If involved in an accident, a driver should A. Stop their vehicle at or near the scene. B. Not stand or walk in traffic lanes. C. Turn off the ignitions of wrecked vehicles. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If you are involved in an accident, you must stop at or near the scene. Move your vehicle out of the way of traffic, if possible. Do not stand or walk in traffic lanes as you could be struck by another vehicle. Turn off the ignitions of wrecked vehicles. Two solid yellow lines on the pavement mean A. Passing is allowed for drivers from both directions. B. Passing is not allowed. C. Passing is allowed if you are at the top a hill. D. Passing is allowed during daylight only. B. Passing is not allowed. Yellow lines tell you that the traffic on the other side of the lines is moving in the opposite direction. You should never cross two solid yellow lines to pass from either direction. To check your blind spot before changing lanes. A. Look into the left side mirror. B. Look into the right side mirror. C. Look into the rearview mirror. D. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. D. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. To check your blind spot before changing lanes, you should look over your shoulder in the direction that you plan to move.